I have an autoimmune disease, and I know it's bad for me to eat gluten or drink a beer or get really stressed out because those things flare me and make my disease worse. But I can just undo it. I can just quit eating the gluten or drinking the beer or decrease my stress, and I'll go right back to where I was before, right? Wrong. If you have an autoimmune disease, every flare increases risk for worsening your disease process. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm putting the pieces together to help you live a life at optimal. Today I want to cover a phenomenon called epitope spreading, and that's the science jargon or the fancy term to explain what I just talked about. A person with an autoimmune disease who is doing things right, minimizing flares, seeming to have improvement in their symptoms, who then falls off the bandwagon, so to speak, has flares and worsening of symptoms and thinks they can go back to where they were before. That's not always the case. And just for clear understanding, where we stand right now in 2018, we cannot cure or heal autoimmune disease. That would require deleting a whole line of cells, memory cells, from the immune system, and we don't have the technology or know how to do that right now. So the clinical goal is to minimize flares and create as much time between flares as possible. So asymptomatic is the goal, slowing or halting progression is the goal. So each time that you flare, you have the possibility of increasing what I'm going to explain as epitope spreading and increasing the amount of tissues that your body is attacking. So before we get there, let's back up. What is autoimmune disease? Whether you have psoriasis or Hashimoto's or RA or lupus, all of those are autoimmune diseases. Yes, in psoriasis, the skin is the target. In Hashimoto's, the thyroid is the target. In RA, the joints are the target. In lupus, it's kidneys and multi-tissue targets. So often in conventional medicine, the treatment is aimed at the symptoms or the tissues that are being damaged. But the real problem is a primary immune issue. Your immune system has forgotten the difference between you and not you. So it's attacking you as if you is a pathogen, like a virus or a gluten or a pollen or something. So that's the fundamental issue, is it's an immune dysfunction. Well, the immune system recognizes protein. So protein is made up of a chain of amino acids. So a chain of amino acids makes up a protein. Think of amino acids as a bunch of letters put together into an alphabet. So an amino acid becomes a protein. The immune system recognizes amino acid groups and proteins. So it's attacking a protein that looks like a pathogen, or an amino acid that looks like a pathogen. So in an autoimmune process, the immune system is attacking you, self-tissue, as if it's a pathogen. So let's talk about, I had a consult where I explained this with a person today with psoriasis, and this person had got their psoriasis under control. Then they went to Switzerland on vacation, and in Switzerland apparently all they eat there is cheese and bread, and so this person ate cheese and bread for a month. Well, the psoriasis is affecting their skin, but also they have psoriatic arthritis, so their joints as well. Since they came back, they said that the skin has flared. They're having more spots on the skin. They're having not just more pain, but more joints now, and different joints are in pain than they were before. And so this is a flaring and a spreading potentially of the autoimmune process. So let's look at epitope spreading. So if the immune system recognizes amino acid sequences, let's break it down in a simple way. Say the skin amino acid sequence is a sentence that says, the dog is black with blue ears and toes, okay? And say gluten's amino acid sequence says, the dog is white with blue ears and tail, okay? Well, if the immune system is dysfunctional enough to be creating an autoimmune process, the immune system is reading part of the sentence and then making an assumption. So if gluten is the dog is white with blue ears and tail, they're reading the dog is and seeing gluten and attacking. The problem with that is that the skin cells in the psoriatic patient, the amino acid sequence starts with "the dog is" as well. So if our immune system is getting lazy and is only reading part of the sentence, it's attacking self as if it's a bad guy, and it's not, hence autoimmunity. So this can go on, and this is psoriasis, and then the person goes to Switzerland and does something bad like eat gluten and dairy for a month, and now they flare. Well, every time you flare, more tissue is being damaged, being presented to the immune system, and there's potential for the immune system to attack a different part of the sentence. So now they go eat gluten and dairy for a month, they flare worse, and now the immune system sees the dog is black with blue ears and toes, and the dog is white with blue ears and toes, while the immune system sees with blue ears and with blue ears and. So if that's the amino acid sequence that the immune system attacks on the gluten, and it matches on self, now we have a new epitope. So each of these is an epitope. And you can see that what initially was one epitope being attacked by the immune system, now because we've introduced triggers for a month and we've flared, now there's been a new epitope presented, and now we have epitope spreading. And now that psoriatic person with skin issues and joint issues now has more skin issues in different spots, more joints exhibiting arthritis in different spots, new joints, so it's spreading. And if you're a person with autoimmunity out there, you may have noticed that, hey, you started with, say, celiac disease, but because you didn't manage it over time, it snowballed into other tissues. So it started with celiac and became Hashimoto's, and then became cerebellar antibodies as well. The mechanism of that is likely epitope spreading and molecular mimicry, or cross-reactivity between triggers and tissues. So the take-home from today's nugget is that you can't be a person with autoimmune process or autoimmune disease going on and just fall off the wagon because you're going to a wedding or going on vacation. Every time you do that, you're at risk for epitope spreading, for recruiting or developing a new autoimmune process against a new tissue and starting to collect autoimmune diseases potentially, and that's not good for your long-term health. So once you know you have an autoimmune process or autoimmune disease going on, you have to work with a practitioner, likely a functional medicine practitioner is the best option, who can help you localize in your life all the triggers and avoid those, so you can drive or create dormancy or as few symptoms as possible in your autoimmune process or disease, as much time between flares, so that your quality of life is as optimal as possible. We are humans. We live in a toxic world, especially in the United States, so flares are going to happen, but we want to minimize them and not do them purposely and promote epitope spreading. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and at Functional Medicine Charlotte, this is a clinical goal with the people with autoimmunity that I work with. This is one of our huge targets in care.